If you're getting ready to attend your first balloon convention, or maybe you've been to a million before, stick around because I am going to share a packing list of things that you don't want to forget in order to enjoy your time at whatever convention you're about to attend. Welcome to this video. If you can't tell, my voice is a little hoarse because I have just spent the week at Fulcrum, which is a balloon convention that takes place in St. Louis. So I have been talking to my friends, attending workshops, I spoke on a panel, and my voice has given out. But I wanted to record this video while it's fresh in my mind of items that I like to bring with me to balloon conventions that you might not think of. You might have flown into a convention, you might not have access to a grocery store, so it's better to just kind of remember some of these things so that you're not borrowing from other people or having to, do Uber grocery delivery to your hotel. This will just save you a little bit of trouble. And some people haven't ever attended a convention and they have no idea what to expect. So here are my top things to remember to bring. First and foremost, don't forget comfortable shoes. Do not try to look too cute. Do not try to look overly professional. You're there to learn and work. There's a lot of hands-on components at conventions, and you don't want to miss out on an opportunity to participate because you don't have the right shoes. So bring sneakers, bring comfortable clothing. That's the top priority. Next up, bring your work apron. So whatever you usually use on the job to work, make sure you just bring that with you in your suitcase because it's really frustrating to be working on a crew or doing something with balloons and not have your typical setup. You reach in a pocket that doesn't exist because you're not wearing your apron, or you go to get a rubber band or something and it's not there. It's just easier to bring your everyday work apron if you have one. And most importantly, scissors. This can get tricky if you are flying with just a carry-on, but for the most part, if you're driving or if you're checking baggage, make sure to have your own scissors. They are always needed. You're always reaching for them. It's such a frustrating thing not to have when you're working on any sort of big or small balloon installation or hands-on class. This isn't something that I've ever seen provided at a convention, so it's just easier to have your own. Next up, medicine. Advil, Tylenol, cough drops, throat lozenges, anything that you might need to make your week more comfortable, throw it in your luggage. This is always one of those things that I personally forget. I'm always asking someone for a Tylenol or an Advil. Over the course of the week, I will inevitably get a headache. We're staying up late, we're talking loud, you're on your feet a lot, you might get sore legs. It's better to have painkillers with you and sore throat lozenges because you're talking loud, you're talking a lot, especially if you're me, you're talking a lot. So bringing something with you, so again, you don't have to ask anybody else or you don't have to buy it out of an expensive vending machine. Some hotels have like a vending machine of medications and razors and things that you might have forgotten, and they're like 10 times the price. So bring those little travel size things with you. You might not need them, but if you do, you'll be really glad that you have what you need. Along those same lines, a bare necessity is water. If you're driving, bring an entire case. If you fly, it might be worth it to have Uber grocery delivery or like Walmart delivery service. Just drop off a case of water for you. You will drink so much water throughout the week. It is impossible not to. I'm not a huge water drinker at home, but here with the amount of talking and movement and you're sitting in classes and hotels are notoriously dry, you want to have either a case of water or just a reusable water bottle that you can fill up all week. Speaking of Uber grocery, if I drive to a convention, that's obviously no big deal. You can pack a bag of snacks and drinks and have that with you. But if you don't, I would still say it's worth the cost to have food delivered to your hotel. Even if it's a shorter convention, even if it's 3 or 4 days, that's expensive to eat at the hotel restaurant for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 3 meals a day. So I like to have, some fresh fruit delivered or brought with me. And then, of course, I love junk food. I love crackers. I love snacks. I love candy. I just like those little things that I can nibble on. I'll bring some Lunchables, hummus, pita chips, anything that you can kind of eat quickly to just kind of recharge when you're feeling down. There's nothing worse than being trapped somewhere and having no food. So delivery, grocery services, Walmart has one that you might already be a member of. And even if though you're in a new location, they'll still deliver to you. I have done Uber for grocery delivery. Again, it's a little bit more expensive, but you're paying for convenience. And they'll deliver everything. They'll deliver toiletries. They'll deliver food. I mean, I think you can order from Target. They'll deliver sneakers if you forgot those. So don't suffer through an entire week without the things you need. You can always have a delivery service bring you your items, especially snacks, water, fruit, things that you really need to get through the day. Next up, business cards. Don't forget your business cards. You will meet so many new friends. Sometimes they're other balloon people. Sometimes they're vendors that you want to connect with after. You never know who you're going to meet. Sometimes it's a stranger in the lobby that wants to know more about what you do. Just bring your business cards with you. I feel like I pass out more business cards at conventions than I do in the average week when I'm actually working in my business. So it's just a great way to keep someone in mind, remember who you talk to, follow up with people after, connect with them after. So just throw a handful of business cards in your apron or in your suitcase before you leave. Next up is one I forget all the time and I always regret it, and that's swimsuit. So no matter where you're going, most of the hotels have pools. And if you're from Wisconsin where it's really cold, you don't get to go in a pool or a hot tub very often, that feels like a nice treat, especially during a break. I love when there's a hot tub and I can go and socialize with friends, but it stinks when you don't have a swimsuit. So throw a swimsuit in your bag. You never know when there's going to be a pool at the convention. You might not use it, but if there is a pool or a hot tub and you are prepared, you'll be happy. The next item is a necessity. Chargers. Bring all the chargers. You just never know what you're going to need. So I have a camera charger. Obviously, I have my computer charger. Battery pack chargers for your cell phones are awesome. You are going to be taking so many pictures and recording so many videos that you will burn through battery. Or I'll have my phone open for an entire 45-minute class, taking notes the entire time, and you just burn through battery power so quickly. So instead of having to run up to your room and recharge, having a wireless or a cordless battery pack to charge your phone on the fly is really nice. Speaking of technology, another thing I bring is my work computer. It sucks, but you still have to do some work. So if you're at a convention for 3, 4, 5, 7 days, it's a long time to be totally unplugged from your balloon business or even just like your regular life. So for a while, I would try to do things on my phone. I just cannot run my business on my phone. I'm quicker on a keyboard, answering emails, and sometimes taking 30 minutes away from the event to respond to emails and know that that's taken care of is really worth it versus having an away message on and knowing that you have these emails piling up and that when you get home, you're going to have to do a ton of work. So I like to take a little bit of time every day to answer emails. And I find that being on my regular work computer is the easiest way to do that. When I'm trying to respond on my phone, I make typos. I can't find all my documents. I can't log into my tabs. Like, it's just easier to have my usual setup. And while I try not to work at conventions, there is a little bit of time set aside to get that those must send emails taken care of. So bring your work computer. Again, maybe you don't need it, but if you have it, you'll be able to log in for just a little while, take care of business, and then put it away. Okay, if you're staying with a roommate, earplugs. Bring earplugs. I have definitely roomed with a snorer before, and it's kind of ruined my entire convention. I couldn't sleep. I was tired, I was cranky, and a lot of times you're rooming with people that you don't know super well. I've roomed with people that I've never met before. Actually, Tabitha Miller, who's a really good friend now, was my first roommate ever at Float, and we had never met, and it worked out. It was great, but had she been a snorer and I not slept all week, it would have not been fun. So bring earplugs, and if you are confused about the roommate situation, being in the convention Facebook group, there's usually always a Facebook group associated with the convention. That's a great place to connect with people. And don't be afraid of staying with a roommate. I think it's actually a really great tool if you're new to balloon conventions of how to meet people. I think it's really, really intimidating to be somewhere by yourself and then walk into a room where you don't know anybody. It's a lot easier to have a roommate that you can go to events with, kind of like freshman year of college. When you don't know anybody and you cling to your roommate, That's what it can feel like at your first balloon convention. So don't be afraid to stay with a roommate, and it saves a lot of money. So this week I just got my checkout bill. I think this room's gonna be like $650. And for me, that's a splurge. Like I choose to stay by myself now because I record videos. I'm kind of a mess. I like to have that alone time to just be by myself and unwind. But for the first like 5 years of attending conventions, I always stayed with a roommate. One convention I stayed with 4 girls. I was the fifth and one of us slept on the floor. So if you need to have a roommate to save on budget, that's a really, really good tactic. You can split your hotel fee in half just by sharing with someone. And you're like not actually in the room very often. It's pretty much just to eat lunch or grab your stuff or to sleep. So don't be afraid to stay with a roommate, but if you do, don't forget earplugs. All right, next tip. This is for women, and this was a tip that I was told unrelated to balloon conventions, but it's always served me well. Anytime you're traveling, bring one nicer dress with you or something dressy that is a little bit better than jeans and a t-shirt, because you never know when you're going to get invited to a dinner. You never know when there's a night like at the convention, like a fancy evening that you didn't really know was happening. At my very first convention, I had no idea what like final night was. I had no concept. There's typically like a gala or a dinner or a group event where some people get really dressed up. It's not always super fancy, but it's usually more than jeans and a t-shirt. So if that's not on your radar, I think always just throw in like a black dress, or I love like a jumpsuit, right? Just like all black. It's easy to dress up or dress down. I hate when I'm underdressed or when I like don't know that I missed an opportunity to get fancy. So I would say most balloon conventions have that evening, that dinner, that fancy night. So again, you don't have to bring a prom dress, but bring something that, you know, is a little bit nicer than jeans and a t-shirt. And again, that's just my personal preference. I feel like that's always served me well. Even when I travel unrelated to balloons, I like to just bring one dress. You just never know where you're gonna end up, so just have that in your suitcase. And finally, the last thing to keep in mind is to bring extra room in your suitcase. I always try to fly with a carry-on, so I will cram my suitcase absolutely full on the way there. And then I'm always in trouble because you get gift bags like this and you have absolutely no room to bring anything home. So bring extra room in your suitcase or allow for this to be your carry-on. I would say, I mean, this was a pretty stuffed swag bag at Fulcrum, but I would say it's not unusual to get a bag this size when you register for a convention. And this was a convention that didn't even have like a vendor room or anything for sale. So there are other conventions where you're buying products, you're getting souvenirs for your kids, you're collecting, you know, things. There might be some extra balloons that you get to bring home and test. There are big things that you'll want to bring with you. So if you're carrying just a carry-on and you're packing super light, you might not have any room. I've unfortunately had to leave tons of stuff behind at conventions that I could have otherwise used at home. So make sure to have a little bit of extra room so that you're not leaving good stuff in the hotel when you pack up and head home. Speaking of which, it is time for me to pack up and head home. This has been such a great week at Fulcrum. If you haven't ever attended a balloon convention, I actually have a new resource for you that I just found out about this week. My friend Dory, who owns Total Party, just started a calendar that lists out all of the upcoming balloon events. So I will put that as a link in the show notes, and you can check that out and see what upcoming events are taking place near you that you might want to schedule some time to attend your first or your 50th balloon convention. I hope this helped. If you're looking for more convention ideas or behind the scenes videos, I definitely have those for you to check out. And thanks for tuning in.